Laundry, when you're doing full-time RV life, is a pain point. So when Morus reached out to me and asked if I'd like to review one of their dryers, I was like, yes, absolutely. The fact that I'm doing this video means that I like it. Check out how tiny this little guy is. I need something for reference. Well, there we go. Pups for scale. Full disclosure, when companies send me products, if I don't like them and it's going to be a bad review, instead of doing the video, I would generally contact them with my notes and why it's not a good product. And in every instance, they're like, just don't worry about making the video, but we appreciate the feedback. So the fact that you're watching this video means that I do like it. It's not perfect, we'll get into that. Now, there are some other reviews out there that go into some extreme details. One review weighed the clothes before and after. Apparently wet clothes weigh more. Who knew? This is a real world test because frankly, I don't care what clothes weigh. I don't care what UV may or may not be working. I don't care if it is technically vacuum, drying, nonsense. I care about three things when looking at this. First, if I put wet clothes in, do they come out dry? Second, can I run it off my Airstream batteries? And third, while marketed as portable, is it actually, could I take it with me on my travels? So that's the three main things I'm going to focus on. We're also going to talk about a fourth point, which is, should you buy it? All right, my first point, does it dry? Well, every time I put clothes in that are wet, they come out dry. So yes. Now, there are several settings up here, which you could dive deep into and all sorts of things. The fact of the matter is, much like when I had a house and a home full-size dryer, I only used two. Full power and low power. Regular clothes, delicates. They both work great. My full power stuff comes out nice and dry quickly. The low power delicates come out slower, obviously. They take longer to dry, but they come out, nothing's been damaged, everything's dry. So I'm happy. Like I said, there are other settings. The one I will mention is the shoe rack. It does have the ability to not have the drum move. You can put a little rack and it comes with the rack. You could dry your shoes. I could see that being handy. My shoes have gotten wet before. I didn't get my shoes wet just to test it, but based on everything else that I've seen, I have no reason to believe that it wouldn't work. The biggest downside I have to the drying function is that it has this feature where when the cycle ends, it will tumble it every so many seconds. I think it's like every 3 minutes it'll kind of tumble it a little bit, which in theory is good, but when your life is running off of batteries constantly, that's something that I wish I could disable, but I haven't been able to. I did reach out to Morus. As of right now, I haven't heard back, but I don't think there's a way to disable that, so I don't love that feature. My second point, can I run it off my Airstream batteries? Now, if you are new to RV life, or if you're doing RV life or van life, a lot of times you have like basically glorified car batteries. I actually use something a little bit different. I use EcoFlow Delta Max batteries, and I've had no problem running it off of them. The hot cycle that tends to dry things pretty quickly. I put in soaking wet t-shirts. They were dry within about 15 minutes. Now on the low setting, I've ran it for hours on end, and I didn't have any problems at all. Obviously, I could plug it up to my generator, or if you're in an RV park and you're running off shore power, it's not going to matter. You know, it does draw a decent amount of power. They market it as being energy efficient, which compared to your giant household dryer probably is. In my test, I'll put it up on the screen where I did some tests, but I feel like it was around that like 1200 watts, which is less than my air fryer. And when you consider this goes for about 15 minutes at full power, it's definitely doable. The third thing, can I travel with it? Well, it's marketed as portable because it is. I mean, it's small, it's light, it weighs about 26 pounds. I can carry it around, no problem. That said, it could use a handle. It doesn't have one, or a strap, or maybe a carry bag. It doesn't have anything like that, and the fact that it's rounded, which looks nice, does make it a little awkward. You know, this last month I haven't actually been traveling, so I've been testing this mostly in the house, but I don't know exactly how I would personally travel with this, which we'll kind of talk a little bit more in the conclusion here in a minute. Yes, I mean, it is portable, and if you have the space for it, I don't see why anything would be really an issue. You'd need to do something to either secure it or pack it safely. But just like anything in this lifestyle, if you want it bad enough, you could take it with you, absolutely. Should you buy this? Well, it is $600. I do have a discount code, which I'll link below, so you can get a discount. Everything in this lifestyle costs more. I have a Zero Breeze air conditioner. It's a portable air conditioner. It costs way more than your typical household window unit would cost. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. When you shrink things down, they cost more. I could definitely see some situations where this would be a must-have. I think about people that have, for example, newborns or small children in this lifestyle. Even if you didn't have a washer, a portable washer to go with this, and even if you're staying at RV parks that have full laundry services, you don't want to do that every time a onesie gets spit up on it or something. It'd be much easier to just toss it in the sink, wash it real quick, and then toss it in the dryer. For me personally, I don't really have that issue with my clothes. I do have the pups that travel with me, and I go through a lot of terry towels, wiping them down, and oftentimes I can go through a lot of wet towels. So this would be nice to have, so I wouldn't have to be trying to air dry all of them. But it's not as important for me because worst case scenario, those towels aren't that expensive. I can always toss them out. So whether or not you should buy this really kind of depends on where laundry falls on your priority. For me personally, laundry isn't that high. Yes, it's a pain point with this lifestyle, but it's not such a pain point that I'd be willing to carry this around with me. Now, if I had a larger Airstream to where I could install it somewhere, absolutely. It doesn't require much space there's no external ventilation required. So you can install it in some pretty small spaces. Yeah, it does throw out some humidity, but the cycles aren't running for that long. So it's really not been that big of an issue for me. So in conclusion, if laundry is a huge priority for you, you should definitely look into something like this. Laundry isn't that high of a priority for me, and given my extremely limited space, I can't see justifying taking this with me. For me to take it on the road, I would have to keep it in the truck bed, which means constantly moving it in and out, or just running it from the truck bed, I guess. That would really be much easier if it had a handle, and then I would have to figure out some way to pack it safely. You know, that's not glass, but it could shatter, and obviously the components. So I'd want to have some way to protect it, and I don't know what that would be other than maybe just wrapping it in like a moving blanket. So that's not exactly an ideal situation for me. I could obviously put it on the bed while I'm traveling. That would work, except then I would have to move it every time. And for something that I'm not using daily, that is a huge pain that I wouldn't want to do. So I just wanted to be fully transparent and say that while I won't be using this, it's really just because it doesn't rank high enough in my priorities for this lifestyle. But for you, it might. If you're interested in the Morus dryer, like I said, I will link it below. I will link a discount code below. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this video. We'll see y'all later.